Hi everybody, it's Sally from Sally Stampers. Thank you for joining me today. Today I'm bringing you this super cute galaxy, or should I say double galaxy folded box. Now this isn't my idea per se. I happened to see on Facebook a lovely American demo who's known as Dawn Stamping Thoughts, which I'm sure that a lot of people watch, and I saw her making something very similar. And basically you open it up and it's got 2 chocolate bars inside. I saw her doing them and I thought, wow, that looks really good. This one does come out, don't worry, it's not stuck. So I went back on to have a look and I couldn't find the tutorial anywhere. I've looked on YouTube, I've looked on Facebook, and I just can't find it. I'm sure that when I saw it, she was doing it live. But now I can't find it anywhere. So from the brief few moments that I saw her doing it, I've sort of come up with my own version. And obviously I'm fairly confident. I've still got bits from the previous project stuck all over me, look. Yeah, I'm fairly confident that some of you will have seen it out there, but like I said, I just can't find it. So the original idea comes from Dawn, but I have made this 2 UK chocolate sized bars as well. So yeah, so I'll show you how to make it. So to make the main sort of wrap part, if you like, you're going to need a piece of DSP that is 12 inches by 6.5. Which in centimetres is 30.5 by 16.5. So yes, you're going to need 12 by 12 for this bit, unless you can put 2 pieces together, I suspect. This is shaded spruce, and this one that I used was cherry cobbler, a colour that I tend not to use all year long and then use tons of it at Christmas. I'm sure everybody else is probably the same. So on the long side, we are going to score at 3.5, 4.5, 8 and 9. Simple as that. And in centimetres that will be 8.5, 11.5, 20 and 23. We'll pop this to one side and leave my scoreboard out, because now you will need to make your pockets. So you'll need 2 pieces of cardstock for this one, and these are 8.5 by 4.5, and in centimetres that's 22.5 by 11.5. And we're simply going to score at 1/2 inch and 1 inch on the 2 short sides and 1 long side. So that's 1.5 centimetres and 3 centimetres. So literally 1/2 inch and 1 inch, 1 inch, and again 1/2 inch and 1, and then the third side, oops, 1/2 and 1, and then exactly the same with the other piece. So 1/2 and 1, or 1.5 and 3, and as I say, just do it on all of the 3 sides. Okay, so that's that bit done, and we'll move this out of the way. So obviously, as we do with most of our projects, we're going to fold and burnish these lovely score lines. And if any of you saw my Christmas card gift set, these pockets are made in exactly the same way. They're just exactly the same, just obviously a different size. So fold and burnish all of these up. And another thing as well, this stamp set that I've used is the Labels to Love, which uses the Everyday Label Punch. Again, this obviously it's a Christmas stamp set anyway, but I love it, although as I say there is Halloween and thanks and love. But again, this is something that I just think, oh, it's Christmas, and I just don't use it until Christmas, which is rather ridiculous. So let's just quickly, while I think about it, let's fold and burnish these score lines too. There we and I can pop that back over to one side for a moment. So again, with these, we are simply going to, if you've got, you imagine this is the top here without any score lines, we'll just simply cut up the 4 squares that are at the bottom. So you've got 4 small squares. Cut away the first one with a wedge, cut across the centre of the middle one, and then we're just going to wedge that piece and then either side. Okay, so I'll do that again. So the 4 squares in the corner, we're going to cut from the bottom up to the second horizontal line. Then we're going to cut away the one closest to the edge with a wedge. We're then going to cut the remaining one in half, and again cut wedges off those and then wedges off the bottom. So you have that left. So I'll do it again on this one. So 4 squares, not 4 corners, 4 squares from the bottom to the second vertical. Cut away the one nearest the edge with a wedge. Cut the remaining one in half, cut some wedges and then wedge across the bottom. And the last side, again cutting up to that second vertical, cut away with a wedge, cut that one in half and then trim either side here and there. And that is your 2 pockets done. So now we come back to the old faithful tear and tape. When I can find the end, there it is. And so we're simply going to put along that outside edge there, and we're going to again do the same with that on all 3 sides. You can use wet glue. Obviously it gives you wiggle room if you aren't too happy with the placements of your pockets, but for quickness and my preference, I like to use tear and tape, but it doesn't give you that leeway, so if you do stick it down, it's stuck, there's no changing it. I do use wet glue sometimes, and I do quite like it. In fact, one of my projects next week I actually used wet glue, but in all fairness, I made my prototype. So for example, I made this one and then I left it and went and had some lunch and then came back and finished it off, so that will be why that one works so well. But when I'm doing it here, I don't feel that I can leave things to dry properly. So I've put my tear and tape on those 4 sides, and I just need some little bits on these little wedges, these little tabs, sorry, here. So that's not very straight, is it? Goodness me. So I'll just pop it on here. This is always the fiddly bit, and this is where the wet glue comes in handy, in all fairness, but never mind. I'm not sure if one of my dogs is dreaming or just, I don't know, making strange noises. I'm sure it will become clear soon enough. Okay, so bringing back in my cover, you will notice when you fold it up that you have one side that is the full length and one that's short. So the short one, if I do that again, is the top, the front, where you will open. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. I'm not very good at explaining things. I'm actually quite tired at the moment, and seriously, I made this, was it this one? Or it might have been another no, it was another project, and I literally had to cut the card 3 times because I just kept getting it wrong. I know that crafting and tiredness really doesn't mix, and I know it's meant to be relaxing, but when you're trying to do measurements, it's not that easy. So you will have a end piece that is the same length as the back piece. The shorter one is the front. That makes more sense. So opening it up, I'm going to pop the bottom one on first. So my dog's complaining. So I'm going to take the backing off just this bottom piece. No, I'm not. I'm telling you fibs. I'm going to do this bit first. So I'm just going to put these little tabs on the inside. Just tuck those bits of tear and tape in. So those are going to be stuck onto there first. I don't know if you can hear them trapping across the wooden flooring. It's terrible, especially at the middle in the night when they get up and wander about and all you can hear is trapping across the wooden flooring. Being a parent, I just wake instantly at any noise, even though my children are quite old, not old, but they're a lot older now and they don't need me in the middle of the night, but I still wake. I think it's just a maternal thing. Right, so tear and tape off the bottom. Now, to help you guide this in the right place, I wrap these pieces around the outside. Okay, it's almost as if it's going to sit over it. So I use those as my guides to the sides, and then you simply have to stick this piece across the bottom here. Now, I don't quite know how I did it the other day when I made these. Like I said, I used these bits as a guide because your tab's already stuck, so this should stay at 90 degrees. And then I just fixed my first corner in place, just there. And this is, again, this is where wet glue does come into play, but it has actually stuck quite nicely. I'm just pressing that tear and tape down, and that has actually stuck quite nicely. I'm quite pleased with that. And then you just need to do exactly the same process with the sides and then with the other one. And again, I'm just taking adhesive off one at a time and popping these on. So I'm just using my finger on the inside there just to give that some resistance and press it down. I know that when Dawn did hers, they were a bit prettier than mine. She had these bits sloping and this was shorter. Like I say, I loved it, but I just can't find it, so I just thought, well, I'll have to figure out making my own. So there we go. So just going to press those pieces of tape down. So there's my first pocket. Now the other part to this is that I forgot to buy more chocolate bars. Probably not a bad thing because that just means I'll eat them, but it means I don't have them to show you in here, but it doesn't matter because it's only chocolate. Shouldn't dare say that really, should I? So exactly the same process again. So backing off here, tuck all of this in and then just pop those little tabs. Be quiet, Daisy, please. I don't know why she's complaining. Pop that over there and then bottom piece. Now obviously this one is slightly harder because you don't have that straight bottom line, but to be honest, you do exactly the same thing. You can just gently bend that the wrong way, use your edges for a guide, and then just simply tuck. I mean, I usually use the glue on my fingers to just bend it in slightly so it doesn't stick instantly, and then again just line up one corner, and when you're happy, line up the second, and then you sort of have to, there we go, that's held that in place. Press that tear and tape down, and again that sat nicely on the crease, and obviously once they're stuck down they will sit nicely together. So I just need to take the backing off these pieces, stick these on. And again, this is easy because if you press very gently in that direction, again you've got this 90 degree and the bottom's already stuck, so it kind of all stays in place. Likewise with this one, I'll push that way slightly. So just take the backing off there. My dog sat looking at me now. I have no clue what's the matter with her. And she's going to grumble again in a minute. So that's that one on there. And so once you've popped your chocolate bars inside, this folds up and you have your box. Pretty. So decorating the front, and the front of the pockets, which I should have done before I stuck it all on, but you know, I didn't because I forgot. So I'm just getting rid of all this rubbish because I can't work with rubbish. Do apologise. Right, so DSP. So this is the Beautiful All Is Bright DSP, and for your panels, for your pockets, you will need 2 of the Beautiful DSP that is 6 by 3 inches or 16 by 8 centimetres, which I'm going to stick on here. Of course, the other thing that I also forgot was that if you wanted to, Daisy, please be quiet, there is an option to make a little credit card wallet that could either sit on this pocket or on the inside, or you could even attach it to the front here if you wanted to just gift a gift card, but as we all know, they're not the most exciting of gifts, are they? So maybe you want to just give them a little bit of chocolate to go with the gift card so they have a gift. This would be ideal, and you could just add that little gift card holder, as I say, either onto the pocket, onto the lid or onto the front. So that's the DSP on my pockets, and then on my lid you need a piece of DSP that is 6 inches by 2.5, and that's 16 by 7 centimetres. And this just sits on the front here. So that is that, and it does sit nicer when you've got chocolate inside because it obviously gives it added weight. And then we just need to do our belly band. So I have a strip of the DSP, of the cardstock, and this is 10 inches by 1.5, which is 26 centimetres by 4 centimetres. And like any true crafter, I just wrap it round to get the right measurements and bends. So my join will be here behind my sentiment so that you don't see the joins on here. So I'm going to put it roughly, it doesn't have to be central exact because it doesn't matter, but it wants to be halfway down the front here, and then I simply pinch across all of the 4 corners. Just make sure that that lines up and it's not sort of going over there and the other pieces here, because then you won't get a true. And then I'm just simply going to reinforce those, line them up here to make sure that the band's straight, and then I just simply go along and reinforce those creases that I made, because you try and measure these kind of things, and I don't know if there's an easy way, but I certainly don't know it, so I just do it that way. And so there is your belly band. So now all you need is some tear and tape. Now again, I generally place this on my box and then I mark just very gently with my nail, which is there, and I can see it. I don't know if you can, but I can see just that. There you can, the little mark there. So I know that when I pop my tear and tape on, that is where it will be seen, so I don't go below it. And I just add a couple of strips. Obviously you could use a pencil or anything else. Just a couple of strips on there, and then is that, I don't know what's wrong with this dog today. It's not even tea time. So pop these, it is very grey and dull, I agree, but it's not tea time. So then I'm just simply going to pop this on, just make sure that it's all in line, and that's that one. And then I just need to decorate it. So I have not got my shaded spruce, bear with me a second. So I just need a scrap of shaded spruce and my everyday label punch. So I just need one of those, and she probably will complain now because she hates the punches. I have no clue why. It's not as if I've dropped one on her or, you know, intentionally scared her, but for some reason she hates them, so she'll start complaining in a minute. So everyday label punch, just with the shaded spruce or with a coordinating, and then I'll just simply cut it in half. Then with my piece of Whisper White here, I'm just going to go back in with the same stamp because I do like it. So, Merry Christmas and best wishes for a Happy New Year. Then grab my shaded spruce ink, which will just go on here. Beautiful. Get that out of the way, back in with the punch to make my dog complain. So I'm just going to line that up. And then just some snail that I've added onto the edges here. And then again, just lining up the top and bottom parts, making sure that I've got an equal gap either side. And then all I need then is to add, let me just turn this around. It's better. And then I just want to add some of these beautiful sprigs. So back in with my old favourite, Joyous Noel. And I've got I've got Merry Mallow. But I actually don't think it will go too badly with this. It needs something bright and cheerful. So as you can see, I've punched a fair few with this. So I actually need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of that one. Oops, nearly sent you then. One I just cut in half, and then back in with my good old glue dots and my dimensionals. So I'm going to pop my dimensionals on the back of here first. Again, just remember your width because you don't want to be going outside of your band when you stick those on. And then the glue dots are going to go on the front of my glimmer sprigs, and I literally just go along with them all on here. I'll come back to my halves in a moment, and it looks like a crown, doesn't it? And then I'm literally gonna, I don't need that actually, pull them off and then just sit them behind. And as I say, I've done 2.5 at the top. I just have to watch those dimensionals. And then 2.5 at the bottom. And then my halves just go on to here. I'm going to use my piercing tool just because, and I've just added sort of an extra one just because it looks too uniform with the 4, but I just thought if I add an extra one in there, I think it just adds a bit more to it, makes it look a bit more sporadic and random. And then just simply take your dimensionals off the back and pop it in place. And there's your, well, I've called it my Dawn's Folding Galaxy box. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope it gives you some ideas of how to wrap up some chocolate bars as a little bit of a different gift for Christmas. Thank you for joining me, everybody, and I'll see you again soon.